Today we're going to, we always talk about like the negative side of life, I guess. But we're gonna talk about the negative side of life some more. So I drew this. I was trying to draw a picture of the system and how to tell myself I can never win in their world and I can never get ahead in their world and I can never be okay in their world, to remind me of that, because it's the truth and I always think I can be eventually, but the truth is I can't. But instead, this is what I drew, and you have to forgive my artistic talent because I'm not a very artistic. I can be artistic sometimes, but not very well with the ease of other things. It takes more effort. I'm not good at it most of the time. So this is what I drew, and this is the person. I thought of it as the aura outside of a person, and them crying tears of blood, and that's the negative energy they're putting out. But what came to me was the beast that lives inside of you and feeds on your fears. So what I thought, what I'm literally just making those because I have no purpose in my life hardly. But this is the beast. This is the beast that lives inside of you and feeds on your fears. And everyone has one. And it's basically part of you, but it's also kind of not part of you. And it takes the place inside of you, like every time you don't feel good enough, or every time whatever happens, or maybe whatever you worry about and whatever you're afraid of, but it takes the form of whatever recurs constantly in your life inside of you that always brings you down and makes you feel despair and grief and powerless, maybe, or just bad and afraid. And it takes that form and it just feeds on it and it just cycles in. But you notice how the little black things that are coming out of it aren't turning inward. Like it could be like a tornado inside of it, and it should be just feeding it. They should be like inside, just going internally, like downward spiraling, because you do downward spiral like that, but they're all going outwards instead. And that's because we're always sending energy out of whatever we are, but it feeds on your fears, but then it sends the energy outwards. And that's when other entities can feed on it too and send negative energy back into it. So it's actually this cyclical kind of like in out thing of just negativity going out and channeling back in, and it just feeds on your fears and makes your despair stronger. And it's crying tears of blood because blood is the water that helps us live. Like the earth has water as its reason for everything living on the planet, like water and oxygen and stuff like that. And like inside our bodies we have oxygen and stuff, but blood is basically like the water, like the oceans and the rivers of our body. And so it's just crying tears of blood. And it's crying tears of blood because that's the pain that you feel inside. And I know this is really cheesy, like some kid stuff, and I'm literally just like making this up as I go, and I don't have any idea what I'm talking about. But it's basically just crying rivers of blood through it because it was processing your pain. And um and that's what it does. It processes your pain, and then it sends this negative energy out, and the universe kind of responds in turn. And it also feeds the dark entities that also exist, which may or may not be real, but I'm pretty sure that they are real. Well, only some people are sensitive to them. But but the point is, this is you and part of you, and it is a part of you, but it's also not a part of you. And the way to best break it free is not just to send it love and stuff, but just to let it exist for a while because it's hungry and it needs food. And like every part of us that needs to eat, like sometimes we need physical love in the form of sexuality, or just physical touch of hugs and stuff like that, or we need physical food to eat us and sustain us, or sometimes you need mental food, like you're really bored and you need mental stimulation, or sometimes you need emotional food. Like all different aspects of us need to eat, but this part inside of you also needs to eat sometimes, and that's why it exists. It doesn't exist because it's bad and it should go away. It exists because it's part of you and it's part of your existence. And sometimes it gets hungry and it just needs to eat. And do things awaken it and make it come to the surface or bring it about and feed into it? Yeah. And can it get really starving and ravenous and just take over your life completely? Yes, it can. And that's just like greed or lust or anything else. Anything can develop a huge, voracious appetite and completely consume your life, including depression and despair or negativity or whatever. But if it's kept within reason, it needs to eat too. And that's okay. So it is part of you, and that's maybe what this video turned into. Is you don't need to feel like you need to make it go away, or like it shouldn't exist, or like you should always be happy, or you're not a good person, or you should, but it's okay to let it feed sometimes. And it in turn feeds the universe in a sense, like the darkness of the universe in a sense. But just when you can, let it feed, and then figure out, once it's had enough food, how to stop feeding it, which is maybe just to come up with something else to do, or maybe like just understand it a little better and work through it and walk with it a little bit. Like take its hand and walk with it and be like, yes, I know why you're here. I know what you're trying to tell me. Because while it also feeds, it's also trying to tell you something. When it's trying to tell you what you're afraid of, or it's trying to tell you what devastates you, or it's telling you these things for a reason, and sometimes it just wants to be listened to. And if you can listen to it enough, maybe you can understand what it's saying, and you can change the course of your existence a little bit in alignment with what it is also trying to let you know. And so today's lesson is to let the beast feed a little bit, because like they used to call people beast, and now everyone's like, those are people. Like, why were we like that to them in the past? And they still call animals beast, but I do believe one day in the future they will see animals as individuals and souls worthy of divine respect as our brothers and sisters again, instead of just beast and stuff. And like the same way they're learning to see different people like that, people they used to call beast and savages, and other names that they've had for like different types of people. Like it's it, I know it's like rude to compare people to animals, because people always think that people are above animals, but I'm not gonna go into that whole conversation. But But likewise, the negative part of you is a beast, but a beast is not necessarily a bad thing. You know, a beast is just a creature in a sense, and it's the creature part of you that is bringing you down to a certain level, but it's also the creature part of you that is hungry, and it's the creature part of you that maybe needs a little bit of your attention before you just shun it or try to reject it or try to go away from it too fast. All aspects of us have value, and all aspects of us matter. And maybe we can take our beauty, which is the parts of us that bring us joy and happiness, and the parts of ourselves that we love, and our beast, which is the parts that bring us down, or the parts of us that are self-hatred, or the parts of us that are fear and anger and all that stuff. And our beauty can learn to fall in love with our beast. And that's today's key is integration, I guess, is the ultimate goal. And I guess I made this because my beast was feeding on me, and I wanted to make some art. Not that kind of art, I just had to make something, so this is what came from it. And that's today's key. And what's the word? Cathartic. Maybe sometimes the beast is healed through catharsis. Is that the right word? So, yes. Let your beast exist, and let's see if it challenges you to create anything from it. Alright, what have you done that isn't necessarily beautiful or true? But what have you done that you feel regretful of? Do you have regret? Probably, maybe. And what have you done that's beautiful or true? Peace out. Much to you, Lena. Bye.